On a freezing morning in River City, a 7-year-old boy locked eyes with a stranger outside a fancy bakery and asked her one question that stopped everyone in their tracks. Can you be my mum for just one day? What happened next changed not just their lives but the meaning of family itself. And you won't believe who she really was hiding behind that perfect coat and quiet smile. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to the channel and like the video and tell us where are you watching from now. Let's jump into the story. It was the kind of winter morning that turns breath into small clouds. River City streets whispered with early traffic, and the orange rise of a distant sun bounced off frosted shop windows. Jordan McKay shuffled forward with hands buried deep in second-hand gloves, his thin jacket no match for the stubborn chill. Beside him, 7-year-old Lucas hopped from one boot print to another like a sparrow, each step sending tiny puffs of powdery snow into the air. They moved in rhythm, though Jordan's steps felt heavy from 2 part-time shifts and 3 years of missing the warmth his late wife used to bring. Lucas, however, carried a pocketful of wonder and a secret wish that today might somehow feel different. They passed dim storefronts that would not open for hours yet and rounded the corner toward Patty's Palace, a bakery so bright it seemed to glow even before its lights flickered on. Lucas slowed, then froze, his wide eyes locked on a tray of golden croissants resting behind the glass like treasure under spotlights. Jordan felt the tug on his sleeve, but kept walking. He had already rehearsed the answer he always used. Not today, buddy, maybe next time. The kind of phrase that tasted like cardboard when spoken, yet felt easier than admitting the wallet in his coat held only bus fare and a couple of quarters. Inside the bakery, a woman in a camel coat stood near the counter, her posture straight as a tree in summer. Her phone held inches from her face, as if the entire world sat on its shining screen. Her dark bob-framed thoughtful eyes that rarely lifted, she looked the way storybooks draw queens, polished, confident, distant. Lucas watched her with breathless fascination. For a heartbeat, the bakery scene leaned into silence. Snowflakes tapped the window while the smell of fresh bread sneaked through the door each time it opened. Jordan glanced back and caught the spark in his son's eyes, but misread it as simple longing for pastries. Before Jordan noticed the slackening of Lucas's mitten grip, the boy slipped away. He darted across the narrow sidewalk, dodging an elderly man and a woman with a dog. The bakery bell jingled as he pushed the door. Warmth and cinnamon rushed to greet him. Jordan's heart thudded. He lunged after his son, spilling apologies along the way. The woman looked up in time to see a tiny figure stop a polite distance from her heels. Lucas's cheeks were pink from cold and maybe a hint of fear, but his eyes glowed with the stubborn shine that only 7-year-olds carry. The room tightened around the moment. Baristas paused mid-pour. Customers stalled mid-sentence, snow-coated boots left melting prints across the tile. Lucas cleared his throat the way he had heard adults do when they wanted to sound brave. "Excuse me, miss," he said in a voice soft yet sure. "Could you be my mum for just one day, please? Just today." If the words had been fireworks, the room could not have reacted louder. A hush fell so fast it felt noisy. One teenager gasped behind a half-eaten muffin. Another whispered, "That is adorable." Jordan arrived panting. "Lucas, I'm so sorry, ma'am," he blurted. "We lost his mother 3 years ago. He doesn't mean to bother you. I'll get him out of your hair." His sentences fell over one another like dominoes, yet Evelyn Hart, though Jordan did not know her name, did not look annoyed. She knelt until her eyes met Lucas's. Her voice slid into gentle warmth. "What's your name, little explorer?" "I'm Lucas, and this is my dad, Jordan. He's the best." Lucas replied with a grin that showed a missing front tooth. Jordan's ears burned with equal parts embarrassment and tenderness. The woman smiled. "I'm Evelyn," she said. "A pleasure to meet you both." She rose and turned toward Jordan, her coat catching light from overhead fixtures. "I have some free time before my next appointment. Would it be all right if I treated you two to breakfast?" she asked, as if inviting old friends, not strangers. Jordan swallowed confusion, fear of Charity, and the echo of loneliness that had lived in his chest since the funeral. His mouth opened, then closed. Before he found an answer, Lucas bounced. "Yes, please, Dad, please." The bakery staff rearranged a small round table near the window. Steam swirled from mugs of cocoa. Flaky pastries arrived on pastel plates. Lucas giggled when whipped cream crowned his nose. Jordan managed a shy laugh. Evelyn listened more than she spoke. Her phone rested face down for once. Outside the city continued its slow wake. Buses sighed and pigeons inspected fallen crumbs. Inside Patty's palace, a new story had begun, and none of its characters yet understood how large it might grow. Somewhere above the murmur of the espresso machine, an invisible thread stitched 3 lonely hearts closer, promising adventures neither dared to predict. Mid-morning arrived wearing a softer shade of winter. Tiny flakes drifted like feathers while River City shook off sleep. Jordan, Lucas, and Evelyn slipped into the flow of shoppers outside Patty's palace. Lucas clutched his croissant and his new friend with equal delight, the croissant for taste, and Evelyn for hope. Jordan still fought the thought that this was a dream borrowed from someone else. He scanned the sky for reasons to retreat, but found only bright clouds. Evelyn suggested they explore the winter market 2 blocks away, her tone calm yet carrying an excitement that surprised her own ears. Lucas cheered, Jordan nodded, and the 3 set off side by side. The market glowed with strings of yellow bulbs and wood stalls bursting with color. Vendors sang out prices for handmade scarves, candles, and jars of honey. Lucas dragged Jordan to a toy booth where a miniature carousel of plush animals turned slowly in the cold. His gaze locked on a small astronaut, suited in silver. Before Jordan could count the money, he did not have Evelyn step forward and paid. She handed the toy to Lucas, who squealed, "Thank you, Captain Evelyn." Jordan opened his mouth to object, but her smile pushed his worries back into his coat pocket. Nearby onlookers grinned at the unlikely trio. Some whispered the woman must be a family friend. Jordan wished that were true, yet feared strangers bearing gifts. They strolled on, nibbling samples of maple brittle. Soon conversation stretched beyond small pleasantries. Jordan admitted balancing 2 jobs felt like spinning plates on a windy roof. He confessed that some mornings he feared Lucas would grow up remembering only tired eyes and empty pockets. Evelyn listened and nodded. She spoke about days so packed with meetings she ate dinner through earbuds. She said success can sound like applause yet feel like an echo in an empty hall. Jordan wondered what she truly did, yet kept the thought private. Instead, he watched Lucas skip between them, joking about naming the astronaut after the woman who saved him from the shelf. Every block they walked seemed to paint new warmth over old sorrow. The public library appeared like a stone castle at the next corner. Inside the children's wing, colorful rugs welcomed tired shoes. Lucas dashed to the Lego pit and poured a rainbow of bricks onto the floor. Jordan and Evelyn knelt beside him, joining the construction of a rocket soaring only in imagination. Lucas directed traffic, gluing wings, while Jordan balanced the nose cone. Evelyn fetched extra pieces and laughed when the structure wobbled like a sleepy giraffe. Other parents smiled at the scene. Someone whispered it was nice to see adults playing rather than scrolling. Jordan caught the comment and felt pride bloom. Even his sore back forgot to complain. When the rocket reached Lucas's shoulder, a librarian in a green cardigan walked over to announce that story hour would begin soon. She thanked them for visiting, then turned to Evelyn with a respectful nod, saying, "Enjoy the rest of your day, boss." Jordan's hands froze above a stack of red bricks. The librarian moved on, not knowing she had dropped a stone into calm water. Ripples of curiosity spread through Jordan's mind. He replayed the single word boss like a tune he could not name. Evelyn looked away, pretending to examine the model rocket, yet a faint blush crossed her cheeks. Lucas did not notice. He was busy arming the astronaut with a paper flag. Outside, the library evening settled gently. Streetlights blinked awake and the river sang beneath thin ice. Lucas marched ahead, swinging the plush astronaut. Jordan slowed beside Evelyn and spoke in a low voice. "Earlier the librarian called you boss. Is there something I should know?" His words carried concern, not accusation. Evelyn breathed out and watched it curl into the air. She admitted she owned Patty's Palace and several other cafes. She said building the company filled her time so completely, she once missed her own birthday dinner. Jordan blinked, then laughed softly, saying, "Guess, that explains your unlimited pastry budget." Evelyn shrugged and replied, "Money buys bread, not belonging." They walked in silence until Lucas proclaimed the day officially awesome. Jordan smiled at the declaration. Evelyn did too. Hidden layers had been exposed, yet acceptance remained. The trio turned toward the park where street musicians played gentle jazz. The music followed them like a promise that today was only the first chapter. As they neared the musicians, fresh snow began to fall, flakes twirling under the lamps. Lucas spun, catching them on his tongue. Jordan watched and felt a warmth not of the season. Evelyn shared the silence. Together, they knew a simple yes had changed 3 lives, for good and forever, they believed. Wind whispered through the bare branches of River Park as the trio stepped onto the crunchy snowpath. Lampposts glowed like gentle moons, guiding them forward. Lucas hurried ahead, leaving tiny boot prints, his silver astronaut toy tucked under one arm. Jordan lingered a step behind Evelyn, thoughts swirling faster than the river under the ice. He still could not grasp how a day that began with budget worries and frozen fingers had turned into an adventure, bright enough to rival summer. Yet beneath his gratitude rested a quiet unease. What did this new friendship truly mean? Could kindness like hers have strings invisible to the eye? Evelyn felt the weight of his questions, though no words were spoken. She sensed suspicion the way a sailor senses a storm on the horizon. Past experience had taught her that status often built walls. Still, she longed for connection deeper than professional applause. She spotted an empty bench near the duck pond and suggested a rest. Lucas raced ahead again, claiming it as a spaceship cockpit. Jordan laughed and dropped onto the wooden slats. Snowflakes gathered on his knit cap. Evelyn sat beside him, her gloves dusted with sugar from pastries earlier. She peeled them off and tucked them in her pocket, as if removing armor. They watched Lucas pretend to steer through cosmic winds. The boy's voice filled the air with rocket noises. Jordan turned to Evelyn and spoke low. "Thank you for everything you did today. I'm not used to help that comes without a bill." His words carried honesty sharp enough to slice winter. Evelyn met his gaze, steady as calm water. She answered gently, "I know how trust can feel like a luxury, but I meant what I said this morning. I had spare time and you two made that time special." Her breath formed white curls that floated away. Jordan nodded, yet doubt flickered in his eyes. Lucas burst back to them, waving a twig like a microphone. "Can we get hot chocolate, please?" he asked, throwing hope into every syllable. Jordan opened his mouth to decline, then saw Evelyn already rising. She suggested they visit a nearby cocoa truck famous for whipped cream shaped like snowmen. Jordan tried to protest, yet found no voice. Lucas cheered. They walked until a bright blue truck appeared with tiny lights spelling Cocoa Corner. A friendly vendor handed them steaming cups, topped with puffy cream shapes, wearing tiny candy hats. Lucas giggled while chocolate dotted his nose. Jordan snapped a mental photograph, hoping to preserve the joy. While Lucas chased pigeons near a bench, Jordan turned again to Evelyn. "Earlier at the library you said money buys bread, not belonging. Those words stick to me." Evelyn leaned against the truck window, her eyes reflecting the string lights above. She spoke quietly. "When I was Lucas's age, I lived in a 2-room apartment where the walls shook whenever the train passed. My mother worked nights at a diner. She never made it to school plays or birthday parties. I promised myself I would give her rest one day. I built Patty's Palace thinking success would equal freedom. But I ended up trading one set of chains for another." Jordan listened. The crowd noise faded until only their voices existed. Lucas returned, hugging his plush astronaut. He noticed their solemn faces and poked Jordan's knee. "You okay, Daddy?" Jordan smiled and ruffled his hair. "Better than okay, buddy. We are just sharing stories." Lucas nodded, then announced his astronaut needed a moon landing. Jordan chuckled and suggested they build one out of snow near the big oak tree. All three knelt in fresh powder, forming a crater and planting a stick flag. Strangers passed by smiling at the sight. Some whispered that family looks happy. Evelyn's chest warmed, but she wondered if she deserved the label. When the moon craft construction ended, Lucas ran circles to celebrate. Jordan wiped melting snow from his palms and glanced at Evelyn. "Thank you for not turning away when Lucas asked you to be his mom." Many would have walked out and never looked back. Evelyn inhaled slowly. "My schedule is full of people who want something. Your son just wanted a moment of love. I couldn't." "Ignore that." Jordan's shoulders relaxed. A rare softness spread through his tired body. He watched Lucas stumble laughing into a snowbank. For once the ache of missing his late wife receded like night at sunrise. A sudden gust tossed snowflakes. Sideways, Lucas shivered. Evelyn noticed. She took off her own scarf, a thick charcoal knit, and wrapped it around the boy's neck. Jordan started to refuse but stopped. Pride bowed to gratitude. Lucas stroked the scarf and beamed. "You're like a snow princess." Evelyn laughed, a sound crisp as frost crunching under boots. Jordan joined the laughter, and for a heartbeat, the park felt like the safest place on earth. Evening shadows stretched longer. Families retreated home. A street violinist played gentle notes that drifted between lampposts. Jordan suggested heading back. Lucas climbed onto his father's shoulders, clutching the astronaut high like a lantern. Evelyn walked beside them, her coat fluttering behind like a cape. Under a streetlight, Jordan quietly asked, "Are you sure this isn't disrupting your life?" She answered with a small smile. "Maybe it is reshaping it." They reached the bus stop where dim light glowed. Jordan described their modest apartment across the river. Evelyn offered a ride, but Jordan hesitated. Old habits whispered no. Then Lucas yawned and leaned against his father's head. Exhaustion outweighed hesitation. Jordan agreed. Evelyn pulled out her phone and called a driver. The car arrived sleek and dark. Jordan swallowed self-consciousness while buckling Lucas into a booster seat that seemed newer than anything he owned. Yet when he glanced at Evelyn, she looked nothing like a distant CO. Instead, she looked like someone who had found something long missing. During the ride, Lucas fell asleep, clutching the plush astronaut and murmuring about galaxies. Streetlights painted gold strips across his cheeks. Jordan whispered to Evelyn, "Today felt unreal." "Thank you again." She whispered back, "Today felt more real than any boardroom I have ever entered." Silence settled comfortable as a blanket. The city scenery slid by, lit windows like silent stories. Jordan realized no label could explain what was unfolding. Kindness had cracked open a door they both thought permanently shut, and in the soft hum of the moving car, seeds of belonging took root in the dark soil of shared loneliness. They did not yet know how they would grow, but they believed the buds were already stirring beneath the frosty ground. Morning tiptoed into River City with a hush of pale pink light. Frost clung to window edges like lace. Inside a modest second-floor apartment, Jordan stirred at the smell of cinnamon drifting up the stairwell. He blinked twice, wondering if the scent belonged to a dream. Then came the rhythmic knock he now recognized, soft yet certain. He slipped unworn slippers and opened the door. There stood Evelyn, wrapped in a quilted sky blue coat, a white scarf framing her bright cheeks. In her gloved hands balanced 2 cups of coffee and a brown box tied with silver twine. "Pastries from Patty's Palace," she whispered. Jordan laughed the sleepy laugh of someone who never expected luxury to climb his staircase. Lucas bounded from his bedroom, pulling a mismatched sock onto one foot. He spotted Evelyn and lit up like a porch lamp. "You came back," he cheered. "Of course I did," she replied. "Our Sunday breakfast club doesn't cancel for weather." That simple ritual became a compass pointing them toward each new week. Soon neighbors started greeting the trio as they descended each Sunday. Jordan in his thrifted coat, Lucas brandishing the silver astronaut like a mascot, Evelyn twirling the pastry box. Sometimes she swapped the bakery name for others she secretly owned, but she never let on. She preferred to be the friend with flaky croissants rather than the CEO with quarterly goals. Outside, they would sit on a bench warmed by a small space. Heater from the cafe. Birds swooped for crumbs, while Jordan and Evelyn shared quiet thoughts wrapped in steam from their cups. Lucas colored rocket blueprints in a sketchpad she had gifted him. Clouds marched overhead, and life felt possible. The routine stretched past winter into early spring. Snow dissolved, sidewalks glistened with thaw. Jordan found himself humming at work. His co-workers noticed the lift in his shoulders. He started cooking dinners that involved more than canned soup. Lucas evolved from shy smiles to full belly. Laughter each evening. Evelyn meanwhile arranged her schedule, so Saturday nights held a blank space labeled family time. Her board of directors grumbled at first, yet she defended the change with the same calm she once used to defend recipes. Money can pause for breathing, she told them. Growth is not only numbers. Her assistant marveled at this new definition of success. One windy April afternoon, Jordan received an envelope from Lucas's school. Inside, a flyer announced the annual spring showcase. Students would perform songs, poems, and small skits. Parents were encouraged to attend and cheer. Lucas had been chosen to play the moon in a short play about night and day. He practiced his single line, "The night may be dark but dreams still shine." He spun in circles practicing orbits. At final rehearsal, the teacher asked who would be sitting with him in the audience. Lucas, without hesitation, answered, "My mom and Dad." The teacher listed the names. Lucas spoke confidently, "Jordan McKay and Evelyn Hart." He had no idea the simplicity of that statement would soon shake hearts. Showcase day bloomed sunny yet brisk. The school auditorium buzzed with excitement. Folding chairs creaked under proud relatives. Jordan adjusted his tie, a relic from his wedding that still carried faint perfume memories. Evelyn wore a soft lavender dress, her pulse quick but steady. They found seats in the front row. Lucas peeked behind the curtain and waved. Jordan waved back, his chest swelling. Stage lights brightened. The principal gave a welcome speech. Performances unfurled one after another, poetry about flowers. A dance number set to upbeat pop. Every child earned applause, yet Jordan heard little. His ears focused on the moment Lucas would appear. Evelyn squeezed his hand gently. They shared a small smile. Finally, the moon scene arrived. The curtain parted, revealing a cardboard sky dotted with glittery stars. Lucas stepped out wearing a silver circle costume painted carefully at home, his astronaut toy tucked into the suit as a secret companion. He delivered his line clear and steady. "The night may be dark, but dreams still shine." Applause erupted. Lucas squinted into the lights, searching. Then he spotted the pair in the front row. He pointed his tiny gloved hand and declared in a proud voice, "That's my mom and dad right there." Audience members turned. Smiles bloomed like spring magnolias. Jordan felt his eyes sting with tears he did not fight. Evelyn pressed a hand to her mouth, then let it fall to clasp Jordan's tighter. Neither moved to correct the proclamation, because it felt truer than any other title ever granted. After the curtain call, children spilled into the aisles. Lucas raced to them. Jordan kneeled, arms wide. Lucas crashed into the hug with a giggle. Small costume crumpling, he pulled Evelyn into the embrace. Nearby parents wiped eyes. One whispered that family comes in beautiful shapes. The principal approached, congratulating Lucas and thanking Jordan and Evelyn for their support. "You make a fine team," she said. Jordan chuckled. "Seems the board just voted on something bigger than business." Evelyn replied, quick and playful, "According to my ledgers, this merger shows unlimited growth." They shared laughter light as sunlight. Through stained glass, evening crowned River City in tangerine hues as they left the school. Lucas insisted on holding both their hands at once, like linking stars to form a new constellation. They walked the long way home, cutting through the park that first brought them together. The pond gleamed copper against the setting sun. A street violinist played the same gentle tune from months ago. Jordan dropped a coin into the case. Lucas spun under branches in his moon costume. Evelyn watched and whispered, "Thank you for letting me belong." Jordan answered softly, "Thank you for showing us we deserved more than survival." When they reached the apartment building, a sleek car waited, but felt no longer out of place. It felt like part of the story. Jordan lifted Lucas, who now yawned wide. The boy rested his head on Jordan's shoulder, blinking slowly. Evelyn brushed stray glitter from his hair. She asked with a grin, "Captain McKay permission to join the household for grilled cheese night?" Jordan grinned back, granting full clearance. They climbed the stairwell as one unit, footsteps echoing in cozy sync. Inside the small kitchen, they cooked sandwiches sizzling on the pan. Lucas decorated plates with ketchup stars. They ate at the modest table under warm yellow light. Jordan realized the room felt larger than ever, possibly because hearts take up invisible space. After dinner, Lucas dozed on the couch nestled between them. Jordan turned to Evelyn. "You once said success felt like applause in an empty hall." "Does it still?" She shook her head. "Now it sounds like a child whispering goodnight." Jordan exhaled a laugh of pure relief. He leaned back. Candles flickered. The apartment hummed quiet. Outside, the moon rose silver and quiet. Inside, a new family settled into belonging. And somewhere in the great map of life, a lonely road bent gently into a shining lane of second chances.